All coaches aspire to be champions, and this time of year is when you set that vision for your team. By now, listeners of this podcast know about signature championship rings and have met some of the signature champion coaches who partner with them to celebrate their achievements. Reputable, affordable, first-class customer service are just some of the ways we keep hearing coaches describe signature championship rings. So as you're ramping up this summer for the upcoming season, create a championship vision for your team now using the design tool at signaturechampions.com/podcast. Give your team a visual to motivate their pursuit of a championship in 2024. And when your team has a championship moment to celebrate, we highly recommend consulting with Signature Championship Rings.
And so that's actually something that we say amongst our defense and amongst our team, is just having that superior confidence, man, that you are prepared, that you do know what's coming at you. Having confidence in the way you move, having confidence in your ability. And I also think that translates so much off the field, because now we're talking about this young man walking with his head up, this young man having clear direction in what he wants to do, this young man having a purpose. And I think that all stems back to your confidence level.
Today's episode of Coach and Coordinators with Justin Robinson, the defensive coordinator at Marian University. He was honored as the AFCA 2023 NAIA Assistant Coach of the Year. In this conversation, Coach Robinson uncovers valuable wisdom and practical strategies that can aid in your approach to coaching. His journey is one of inspiration, dedication, and relentless pursuit of excellence, and his methods and insights have helped him propel his team to new heights. Additionally, we'll explore a defensive strategy known as the divorce front defense, which has been a game changer against today's RPO-heavy offenses, and we'll uncover his philosophy of any front, any blitz, any time, showcasing the confidence that he has in his defense. Stay tuned after the episode as we share our winning edge takeaways from our conversation with Justin Robinson, the 2023 NAIA Assistant Coach of the Year. What you see on tape is a direct reflection of what you teach and how you teach. Video is important, but if you don't teach well, you're not going to like what you see on your video. First Down Playbook has been helping coaches teach better for 13 years. It allows you to present installs, playbooks, and practice cards in half the time with NFL quality. Coaching tools like video pairing, a player app, practice schedules, and wristband sheets have made First Down Playbook a program management system with everything in one place. If you're in a position of leadership with your football program, receive a free 1-week look at First Down Playbook. Call them at 512-814-6158 or visit them on their website or social media. Mention Coach and Coordinator Podcast or use the coupon code COACH24 to receive a $100 discount off the normal $700 First Down Playbook team membership price. Links and the phone number are in the show notes. On today's episode, we're going to talk about things like inspire, impact, ignite. We're going to talk about any front, any blitz, anytime. And joining me to discuss that and more is the 2023 NAIA Assistant Coach of the Year, the defensive coordinator at Marian University, Justin Robinson. Justin, it's great to have you here on the podcast. I appreciate you taking the time.
No, I greatly appreciate you allowing me to be on this podcast, man. It's an honor.
I mentioned here in the beginning the 3 I's, which are an important part of what you do. And I want to dig into those, but I want to learn first a little bit about the background and the things that happen in your life and the mentors you've had along the way that really help you form this idea of inspire, impact, and ignite.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of take you back a little bit, just kind of how I got into coaching and, kind of get into who my mentors are and how prevalent they've been in my life. So Justin Robinson was born in Louisville, Kentucky, raised in Indianapolis. I actually started my coaching career in high school. My first coaching career was at Heritage Christian. I actually started as a defensive coordinator there. From Heritage Christian, went back to my alma mater, Bishop Chatard High School. From Chatard High School, ended up going to Evansville Central, moved around quite a bit because my wife is actually what she was, a Division I volleyball coach. So moved around a little bit with her as well. And from Evansville Central, I was blessed enough to jump right into college football. Went from being at Evansville Central as a defense coordinator to I went to Hanover College, where Coach Theobald and Coach Eric Gall were my head coach and defensive coordinator, and, you know, two guys to this day that I really look up to and get a lot of ideas and just different things from them as well. Was at Hanover for 4 years, had a great time, ended up getting the opportunity to go coach at UT Martin. I was there with Coach Jason Simpson, learned a ton from him. Coach Chris Polizzi was my defensive coordinator at the time. Had a great experience there, won a conference championship there as well. And then just was blessed enough to get the defensive coordinator position at Marian University with Coach Ted Karras. You know, and Coach Karras has always been a mentor for me. He was a guy that actually, coming out of high school, offered me my first scholarship. You know, so it's been a long-lasting relationship between me and him. And now we're in a position where I'm going into year 2 as a coordinator here. So that's kind of a quick overview of how I got here and how I'm talking to you now.
Yeah, so the idea of your 3 I's, which kind of form the way that you develop relationships, right? The connectivity with your players. Talk to us about how that developed and what those 3 I's mean to you.
All right, it all started with my high school coach, Vince Morazzano and Dave Whittemore. Those were 2 men that really took me under their wing as a troubled kid from the east side of Indianapolis, going into Bishop Chatard High School. And, you know, their whole purpose in life was to really impact my life and do it in a positive way myself than what statistics say I should be. And from there, it was all about igniting the fire in me to say, go do it. You know, and that was something that I really took away from those guys. And it's something that I hold true to who I am now. So when I'm building relationships and having conversations with these young men when it comes to recruiting, those are some things that I'm trying to get across as to who I am as a person. You know, and my main goals in life is not only to hopefully bring individuals to God, but it's also to impact their life in such a positive way. You know, I want to inspire you to be better than you were yesterday. And if I can, man, I want to ignite that fire in you to go be great. You know, and I think that's pivotal in today's age where you have a lot of young men who aren't very sure of themselves, who go through a lot of different issues. You know, I can relate to a lot of. So for me, it's all just using my childhood, using my upbringing to really help push these young men to be better versions of themselves.
Well, I want to point out at Bishop Chatard, you guys had some good ball players there, some guys who are playing at a high level in the NFL. One of those guys you played next to, Zach Martin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Chatard was one of those schools, and I believe it still is. It's obviously a parochial powerhouse in Indiana. You know, we've done a really good job over there. Playing next to Zach was insane, to be honest with you. I knew Zach when he was playing with us on the varsity level. We all knew that guy was going to the NFL. He was just different, right? And it kind of made my life easier on double teams. You know, there's a lot of times I was acting like I was really working, but it was really Zach doing most of the work, and I just kind of stand next to Zach. You know, and obviously I know he's had an unbelievable career in the NFL. His whole family's awesome. You know, it's Josh's older brother, Nick, his younger brother. I've been able to play with all those guys and watch Nick grow up. So it's been really good, man. Chatard has always been a hidden gem. It's always had a lot of really good football players that come out of there. And there's the reason why we have the most state titles in Indiana. Yeah,
for sure. Well, and I had the opportunity to work with their father, Keith Martin, at USA Football, and I did meet Zach. Zach's been on the podcast before, so just a unique family. They've done a great job, obviously, with 2 of their boys playing at a high level in the NFL. But, you know, I think that's the kind of people you get around certainly are instrumental in the way you develop, the way you grow.
Right, absolutely. I mean, I truly believe that God has a plan for you, right? He introduces people in your lives at certain points. And, you know, and again, being able to kind of watch Zach's career, and me and Josh, his older brother, we actually played at UIndy together as well. So being able to just kind of be around that family, man, it was awesome to see. You know, his parents were awesome. They always treated me well, and, you know, he's always treated me well as well. So being around good company always helps. but then it kind of helps you kind of see like, oh man, I want to kind of take that from that guy just because he does things a certain way, carries himself a certain way. So no, it was really cool and it was really fun. I've been blessed to be around a lot of NFL guys, a lot of Hall of Fame coaches. Vince Lorenzano is a high school Hall of Fame coach. Coach Bart from UIndy is a Hall of Fame college coach. My current head coach, Ted Karras, is a Hall of Fame high school and college coach.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's been a blessing to be around a lot of Hall of Fame coaches. Coach Jason Simpson, I mean, hell, he's going to be a Hall of Fame guy as well. So, I've been very, very blessed to be around a lot of guys that are coaching at a high level, but not are just great coaches, but are unbelievable people. And so I've been able to really draw a lot of things from them as well.
So I think what you were recognized for here as the 2023 NAIA Assistant Coach of the Year, I think that one is a great honor, but I think it's unique in that this was your first year as a defensive coordinator at Marian. You were at UT Martin, you were a D-line coach. Now you come to Marian, you're elevated as a coach. And I think a lot of that, what you would point to is, well, how was I able to make that impact right away is what we're talking about here is the relationships that, for you believe in being elite at building relationships. I would love to hear for you what that approach is, in both building the relationship with your players, but it has to be on the side with the staff too and coming into a new situation.
Absolutely. I'll take it from the vantage point first of building a relationship with the players, and I think a lot of times it really comes down to being your authentic self, right? And when you are able to present who you are and you're consistent with who you are, you're not changing and flip-flopping on kids, I think that then becomes a little easier for them to buy into who you are. Being a man of faith, I've always been a guy that believes that you treat people like you want to be treated, right? You want people to know that Coach Rob has your back. You want people to know that Coach Rob believes in you. And so, again, growing up, my dad always told me, man, when you say something, have meaning behind your words. And so I've really held that with myself. And then just understanding what the players need, right? What are you going through? What do you need to talk about? It's not always about football. And I think that's where some guys kind of miss the boat because it's always consistently about football. Well, these young men are individuals and people too. They're dealing with a lot of stresses right now. There's a lot of mental health issues going on right now. And so for me, it's part coach, part counselor, part friend. It's how do I help you become the better version of yourself? Whether if that's I got to take on a lot more than I need to take on, or it's, hey, you just really needed me to be around. How can I make myself available to you? And I think once you get to that point where your kids really know that you're there for them, well, then they want to play, and I think that's different from when someone says, oh, that guy is out there playing, right? No, that guy wants to play for you, and he wants to play with you. And I think that's where you really start to see these guys take their games to the next level because they know that they have a guy that's supporting them. And I've been really, really blessed to be able to connect, build, and, I think that's why the relationship side of things, I think that's why we're really excelling here at Marian with the relationship side of things. And then with the coaching staff, my coaching staff right now, I'm pretty blessed. I actually have a bit of an older coaching staff when it comes to my linebacker coach and my DB coach. My nickels coach, he's around my age. So it's a very good blended mixture of ages, experience, and relationship that we have on our staff here at Marian. I credit that all to Ted Karras, our head coach. He does a phenomenal job of being player-centric, being a player's coach, being somebody who really listens to what is needed to help these guys have the best experience they can have. And that goes all the way to the coaching staff, right? Like if it's not something that is going to benefit our players in a positive way, we don't do it, and getting that from him is something that was kind of eye-opening for me because, you've been different places and you've seen different things. But when it comes to, man, is that going to help our team be better? Is that going to give them a better experience? If the answer is no, get away from it. If the answer is yes, it's how can we get it done? It's never, no, we can't do it. It's always, how can we do it? And that that mind shift was just is eye-opening for me. And so that's kind of the same approach that we take with our staff. You know, yeah, we have our disagreements when it may be, you know, how we're going to fit this versus fit that, right? That's coaching, right? But when it comes to our kids, there's no disagreements. Is it what's best for the kid? If it's not, we walk away from it. I truly believe that's been extremely beneficial to us and just kind of how we're cultivating and building this culture over here at Marian.
So in helping your defense, again, in this transition, I know one of the things you really believe in, I think it dovetails with the relationships, is that you want to build superior confidence. And a big part of that is the relationship side, where you're able to coach them. The other part is then being able to get them to play hard all the time. Two things that are integral in making your defense what it is. Absolutely.
And it's funny, man, the superior confidence, you know, I actually got that from Coach Tutsi, our defensive backs coach. You know, there was a point in time last year where we were going through some junior days, and I had made the statement of, don't mistake us being cocky because we carry ourselves with confidence. And he pulled me aside and said, Coach Robinson, don't ever apologize for having superior confidence in who you are. And that really stuck with me, because in this industry, you can carry yourself in a way where some guys may be like, oh, he's cocky, and they don't even know you, right? I mean, you can carry yourself and, oh, he doesn't talk, he's very standoffish. Yeah, but you don't know that guy. You know, and so with me, it's always been a factor of being able to have superior confidence in who I am as a person, what I'm able to do, how I build relationships, and how I'm able to really connect with these young men to help them to play at an extremely high level. And so that's actually something that we say amongst our defense and amongst our team, is just having that superior confidence, man, that you are prepared, that you do know what's coming at you. When they get into 2x2, you know what their tendencies are. When they're doing this, you know how we're going to respond. Having confidence in the way you move, having confidence in your ability. And I also think that translates so much off the field, because now we're talking about this young man walking with his head up, this young man having clear direction in what he wants to do, this young man having a purpose. And I think that all stems back to your confidence level. And you hear coaches say it all the time, man, I got to build trust. I got to build trust. We got to build your confidence. Well, yeah, we're working on that too, man. And that just comes with our superior confidence. And we're going to work that every day. We're going to do different activities and different things with our guys that let them know, like, man, you're way more than a football player. You know, because at the end of the day, we're always trying to attack the guy wearing the helmet, not the guy that is walking around saying, I'm a football player, right? We want that guy that's underneath the helmet. We want an individual. You know, we win the individual, we'll win the football player. You know, and that's what we truly believe.
And that's a good one to learn from there. Coach Tutsi has had an incredible career as a high school coach, won 4 state championships with Lawrence Central, was a national high school coach of the year. So being able to have that guy on your staff to be a part of what you do is incredible as well. As coaches, we know that some of the biggest hurdles to our team's success can come from off the field. Your team needs support to tackle the endless list of expenses, uniforms, training equipment, travel, and more. But raising that money can feel like a full-time job. Thankfully, there's Vertical Raise. Vertical Raise is the premier online fundraising platform using innovative technology to create the easiest and most efficient system available. Raise more money in less time with a local fundraising coach who works with your team every step of the way to customize the ideal fundraiser. With options for online donations, digital discount cards, premium product sales, and even spirit shops, Vertical Raise has top-of-the-line solutions for every fundraising style. To find out more, visit verticalraise.com and we'll get you connected with an exclusive offer on your first fundraiser. I've always been interested in the use of technology to make our jobs more effective, so I'm excited to continue sharing modern football technology with you here on the podcast. This innovative system leverages tendencies to improve self-scouting, game planning, and in-game decision-making at the speed of the game. Modern football stands out because it's a battle-tested platform used by teams at all levels, like 4-time national champion Bishop Gorman, the 5-time California state champion Folsom Bulldogs, 6-time Texas state champion Lake Travis, Cal football, and the CFL's Grey Cup champions, the Montreal Alouettes. So book a demo today to see why these teams trust modern football technology. Visit www.teammofo.com/demo and mention Coach and Coordinator Podcast or use the coupon code CC10 to receive 10% off your first year. In looking at your approach to defense, you're working on effort, you're working on superior confidence, but you have this philosophy of any front, any blitz, any time. Can you explain to us, one, what that means to you, and two, obviously that seems very expansive. So how do you teach? How do you teach? How do you fit things together so that phrase works for you philosophically?
Yeah, absolutely. When I really look at it, and when we was talking about this defense, and when I really presented to Coach Karras, his biggest thing was, hey, just make it simple enough that our kids can understand it, complex enough that offenses struggle with it. And that was the charge that I had. And even coming from Martin, the thing at Martin was same as, just like, right? So everything we did always same as, so now we take that to what we're doing now. And I truly believe in being a divorce front team. I think it allows us to be extremely multiple. It allows us to do some things in the front end and allows things to happen in the back end independently. I think that it helps a lot. Because a lot of times when everything's tied in, offenses, those guys are really smart. Those guys, the game is made for them, right? So as a defensive guy, we got to continuously figure out ways to manipulate spacing, manipulate gaps, to manipulate hats, post-snap that obviously we can try to get a one-up on the offense. And so for us, any front, any stunt, any blitz, it simply means it doesn't matter what front I call. We can run this stunt, we can run this blitz. And we can do it because all it is same as this stunt. It's same as when you're in this stunt. And so we keep the job descriptions and how they manipulate and do their job the same, right? It doesn't matter if I'm a 2-eye and I know that we're running NCAA from the field and, hey, I got to cross face and I got to help get out to that extra contain because we're dropping the backside in. Hey, it's all good. You just know now my job and my technique. Hey, I got a long stick to get B to C to try to help contain on this because now my boundary end is gone. So for us, it's all about how do you do your job from where you're being placed pre-snap and get there post-snap. And we've been really, really successful with that, especially last year. There's a lot of times you'll look out there and, be truthful with you, you'll look out there and we look the same, and then post-snap, we're all over the place. And it's because of that quick and easy teaching and how we present it to our guys that makes them understand, right? And again, as my defensive line, I can literally call a certain call or a tag, and they automatically know, oh, okay, cool. This is my job. This is my how, right? And this is why coach is doing this, which makes them play faster, which makes it be more effective. And then also, man, we're trying to put those guys on the other side in conflict too. Again, the game is made for offensive guys, but shoot, one of my good buddies, Caleb, me and him talk about this all the time. It's same plays, more ways, right? Like we're running the same plays. We just have a lot of ways that we're doing it. And that allows our guys to play extremely fast.
Yeah, you mentioned the divorce front, right? That the back end and the front end aren't necessarily reliant on adjustments so that things work on both ends of the defense. It's something I learned coming up the defense. I think I learned and was most experienced with was the stunt 4-3 developed by George Perlis. Nick Saban certainly has some roots in there. Our high school defensive coordinator learned it directly from George Perlis by doing it the old school way, showing up there in the summer to work at camp and then sitting in the film room forever and asking as many questions as he could. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, looking back then, there was no RPO, but certainly it helped us defend both aspects of run and pass. Would love to hear just, your philosophy on that and how your defense works in that way.
Yeah, I think it really does. And here's my overall philosophy with it, right? When I'm going out and I'm recruiting a defensive lineman, I'm recruiting that guy to stop the run and be able to affect the quarterback, right? And when I'm recruiting a linebacker, I'm recruiting that guy to be able to help stop the run and affect in the passing game. So in my mind, the way that I look at it, if that's what I'm putting you on scholarship to do, that's what I need you to do at an extremely high level, right? And with today's modern offenses, whether it, one play they could be all over the place looking like air raid, next play they're looking like old school football, lining up in 12 and 13 personnel running the ball. There are certain things that I truly believe that you have to be really good at, since this is why you're on scholarship for, right? Like I'm a big rush and cover guy. I don't really like dropping my boundary in, because I'm not putting him on scholarship to cover the flat, right? I'm putting him on scholarship to stop the run and go affect the quarterback. And so for me, man, with the RPOs and, whether it's your RPO on the second level or third level, there's so many different things that these offenses are doing certain ways, and can use your 4 to take up all internal gaps or figure a way to take internal gaps. You're giving your linebackers a kind of a breath of fresh air or a sigh of relief, saying, okay, I can now be a little bit late to the run. I can really help on the pass game because everything's taken up internally and it's going to bounce out on the edges for me. And again, when I look at it, when I think about it, most of the time when you're playing in coverage, you're Mike and your Will backer. Those guys are typically strong hook, weak hook defenders, right? So at the end of the day, if I'm saying that ball is going to bounce out on the edges, I'm putting you in an advantageous situation where that Will linebacker essentially is already going to that hook zone, right? So that guy now has leverage to even help himself get to that ball if he does see it pop out. So for me, man, I just look at it from a standpoint of like, how can I try to make things simple? I want my D-line to beat up offensive linemen. I want us to really cause issues up front. I need us to cover because of what's going on in the passing game right now. And then obviously, then the comment comes in, well, what about the plus run game with the quarterbacks? Well, great. And that's why now you have different coverages that put your safeties in the fits, and you do different things to kind of manipulate that situation. But I think offenses are too good right now, man. I think you have to have a plan up front to really disrupt, dominate, and discombobulate offensive linemen. Because again, those guys are taught to kind of, I hate to say this, but they're taught to block pictures, right? They're going up there and they're looking at pictures. They're taught to block pictures based on their tracks, stay on your tracks. And, again, that's where I think we have a little bit of luxury as defensive guys, because we can post-snap stems, pre-snap stems. There's a lot of stuff that we can do to get them boys thinking before they snap the ball that, hey, that guy missed his block. Hey, the tackle for loss because that guy thought he was here versus there. So I just think having that in your arsenal, being able to divorce your front with your back end, I do think it adds a lot of value in today's football.
You've had an incredible trajectory here of your career. And I know for you, there's more things you aspire to. Some, head coach probably in the near future here, or not that far down the line. And before we got going, you brought up the idea of, again, we talked about superior confidence before, but, with coaches, making sure you have that feeling that you are good enough. I mean, we always want to keep working at this. There's so much to learn. When you even talk to the guys at the highest level, they still talk about learning the game, right? And, right. I guess the term for it is imposter syndrome, right? It's the feeling of, not being successful, or that, what you're doing isn't enough. Where in reality, a lot of us are working hard to be our best and maximizing our potential. And it does get in the way for coaches, because there are going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be times when you interview for a job and don't get it. You're going to end up in the room with people who maybe have much more recognizable logo on their shirt than you. Right. But that doesn't devalue who you are as a coach.
Absolutely. And, in my head, Coach Ted Karras, man, he does an unbelievable job of making sure that us as assistants know that we are good enough and we are doing the right things to make sure we're being really good assistants for him, right? And growing up in this industry, I've been extremely blessed to have some unbelievable mentors, a lot of guys that I talk to weekly. My guy KB, EJ, those are guys that really helped build my confidence when they met me as a Division III coach, right? And being able to be in the same rooms with those guys and those guys really letting me know, like, hey, Jay, you know what you're talking about. Have the confidence to present it. So I've been blessed, man, to have guys this whole tenure in my career, man, they just invested in me. And while investing in me, teaching me how to go back and invest in other people. And I think, if there's anything I could say for a young coach that's out there, man, just know that you are good enough, right? And don't let your mind trick you how you could perform at an extremely high level. Continue to progress, continue to learn, ask questions. There is no right, wrong, dumb question. Ask questions. If you're in a meeting and you're hearing a certain term or some language that you've not heard before, ask. Because, the worst thing that's going to happen is that you get the answer, right? And I think a lot of coaches are humble enough to understand, like, hey, man, I was wanting his seat. So don't ever be afraid to ask questions. Don't ever be afraid to find the why and ask the how. It's all it is learning at the end of the day. Man, like I said, man, Coach Karras, I can't speak highly enough of this man, just kind of what he's even done for my career from a distance and now up close, to my mentors. I can't thank them enough either, who's always poured in me. Man, to even like a lot of coaches, man, that I've randomly met that now I've become really good friends with. It's always learning opportunities, right? It's always, how do you get better at one thing? And that was one thing I really took from Coach Jason Simpson. He would always come in there and say, hey, we're looking for one more first down and one more stop. And to me, that just meant we're continuously looking at how to progress. Yes, we know we're good, but how do we become even better? And I just think that was life-changing for me to kind of take that perspective. But I really think, man, the more and more you realize that you are good enough and the more and more you realize that you can swim in deep water, the better you become as a coach and the more confident you become as a coach.
Coach, it's been a while since we've been trying to get together. I think it was sometime in January where I said, Coach, I'd love to have you on the podcast, but I'm glad we finally got to sit down here and talk about the things we did today. And certainly best of luck to you and the Knights here in 2024 and, continue on your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it, man. And if there's anything I can ever do for anyone out there, man, please feel free to reach out to me. I don't have all the answers. I don't pretend to have all the answers. But, hell, I got 2 ears that can listen and can hopefully add some advice to somebody's life. So if there's anything anybody needs, just feel free to reach out to me.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Not a problem.
Here are winningest takeaways and ideas for implementation. 1. Learn from Coach Robinson's 3 I's approach: inspire, impact, ignite. Inspire. Encourage your players to be better every day. It involves motivating them and setting examples that inspire growth both on and off the field. Impact. Make a significant positive difference in the lives of players by supporting them through their personal and professional challenges. And ignite. Light a fire within players to pursue greatness with passion and determination. This can be achieved by understanding their individual motivations and helping them see their potential. 2. Be elite at building authentic relationships. Coach Robinson emphasizes the importance of being authentic and consistent in interactions with players. Building trust through genuine connections helps players feel supported and valued. He highlights the need for coaches to understand and address the personal issues and mental health challenges their players may face, showing that care extends beyond the football field. And 3. Develop superior confidence. You should instill a strong sense of confidence in your players by preparing them thoroughly and reinforcing their abilities. Confidence translates into better performance on the field and a stronger sense of self off the field. Encouraging players to believe in their skills and knowledge can lead to higher levels of play and personal growth. Be sure to check the show notes for special offers from our partners. Follow all we're doing on coachandcoordinator.com and sign up there for our weekly tip sheet, which shares the best ideas from each week. and follow us on X at Coach K. Grabowski.